Yo, what is going on? You are now tuning in to the six-man convo. Y'all not ready for this today.
Oh no.
Damn it. The transition was supposed to be a lot better than that. I was supposed to transition off the screen, but I was jamming. What's going on, people? What's going on, man? As your eyes do not deceive you. Yes, today's six-man combo is going to be featuring the heavy hitters. If you already know, if you don't know, now you damn know. I'm your host, six-man K Styles. To my stage left, as you already know, is El Presidente, Senator Palpatine, Mad Mike Sports. And right below us, we got the minister, the calm before the storm, Mr. Jew Talk Sports. Out there, I am Pie May of the Heavy Hitters. If y'all don't know who Pie May is, you need to watch Clan of the White Lotus. Just let you know now. But hey, man, we appreciate. Hey, fellas, how we doing this evening? Mike, Jew, how we doing, man?
I'm great, man. I'm great. My AC is a little out, so I'm waiting on the maintenance man. So it's hot in the mug of plucker. Okay. Uh, yeah.
I know the
So
feeling, man.
it's not a good feeling when the AC goes out and you gotta wait for the supplies to come in and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm burning the hiccup.
Hey, Jew, man, how you doing, man? Hey.
Oh man, it's good to be back, man. Before we get started, if you went to my channel and I put on my community tab that this was going to be on the Heavy Hitters Live channel, y'all please share this out to those people so they'll know that we on Six Man's channel. I lied to the people.
It was kind of the last. It was like I said, it was kind of a last minute get together. It was kind of too quick to change the show.
We changed the show at the last minute. We just forgot about it.
Yeah, my bad.
Got a lot of stuff going on right now.
Exactly.
It's all good. I got a little overzealous, so if y'all over at the Heavy Hitters channel, hopefully they migrate somehow over to this channel.
Look. I'll tell you like this. After this week, you better go to the Heavy Hitters Live channel because y'all not going to see us on no other channel. Not Mad Mike Sports, not Utah Sports, not Six-Man K-Styles. You tune into the Heavy Hitters channel. Now, before we get to the show, let's get to D. Coleman, Pie May from Kill Bill, and Clan of the White Lotus is pretty much the same damn character. One is just older than one is just the older movie version. I'm like, how motherfuckers got the paperweight kung fu? I ain't never seen nothing like that. But today's real
welcome
is gonna be featuring today. We got Bubba Gump in the building, about whatever. Big Ant, shout out to Big Ant, AFN's Big Ant, Joseph Thornton, Tony Hall, Silas Draven, YMOF Jamal, Mucho Grundy, Tev Sports and Gaming. We got Holiday in the building. We got the real Michael Walker in the building. Andrew G, Dre Harrison, Silas Draven, Mr. 58 in the building. Shout out to my player partner there. Y'all make sure y'all go and get him a subscribe on his channel as well, too. Brian Peoples, Trauma Locks, Toxic Falcon. Boy, y'all is heavy right now. Y'all,
for the heavy hitters.
Exactly. I was gonna make another joke about like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. Prove it. Davis, Dreddy, Eric, Matt, Auntie Pam in the building, Matt Town Dirty, ATL Leo, Engine number 9. King Treyway. We got the therapist ATL in the building. So let's go ahead and get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. As we already know, for most of us that damn near forgot that the Falcons play the Steelers tomorrow instead of Friday because we've been used to it for the last couple weeks. Man, this is the final dress rehearsal before this, letting us know that the season is underway, fellas. How are we feeling about that?
Y'all want me to go first? Because I might be a little long-winded.
Go ahead, kick it off.
Y'all know it's been a long time. Y'all know when the minister ain't preached in a while. You know, it's like, all right.
You got to give us that blessing right now, man.
Yeah.
They need it. They missed that. They missed everybody yesterday. They need the blessing.
Yeah, I'll actually kind of keep it short. Since this is first down, I'll be kind of short and sweet. This last game, I'm not too sure if the starters are actually going to play. Like Desmond Ridder and those guys, they said they're going to see how practice go. So I really think this is the game for the guys that are kind of like on the bubble of making this team. Like if you one of those players that's like a fringe 53-man roster, you know, we got a couple guys on this team. I'll say maybe about 10 guys on this team that has to come out in this game and like prove, you know, do something spectacular in this game to prove to the coaches like this is your final chance to kind of catch the coach's eye. We know some of those guys have already taken advantage of this opportunity in the preseason and training camp, like the DeMarco Hellums. You know, he's made splash plays in the first 2 games, so he really doesn't have anything to worry about. But guys like Xavier Malone, the wide receiver, guys like JJ Arcega-Whiteside, this is their football game. Like they got to go out there and show out so the coaches want to keep them on the roster and make it even harder for these coaches to cut them. So I really feel like this last game is really about those guys that are kind of like fringe. They might be a practice squad player. They might be a 53-man roster. Or they might be on the street. So wide receiver, I'm focusing on the wide receivers because those guys, to me, it's been like they've been balling out. Like Josh Ali, Xavier Malone, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, all 3 of those guys, to me, could make this roster. But I don't think all 3 of them can make it because I don't think all 3 of those guys can play special teams. So you guys know, personally, I like JJ Arcega-Whiteside because of his size, basically. Like, if a Drake London, God forbid, goes down with an injury, you kind of have somebody that's similar in stature. And I think that that's huge when it comes to the game of football. We know 17 weeks, somebody going to get nicked up at some point. You know, knock on wood. I don't want anybody to get injured. But we know a tweaked ankle here, a bruise here or there, you might miss a game or 2. And I really don't think that Xavier Malone, you know, he can actually fill that role of playing like being an outside wide receiver. To me, he's more of like a slot guy, where JJ Arcega-Whiteside, to me, fits the scheme of positionless football. Like he's a guy that you can play on the outside. He's a guy that you can play in the slot because he has the size. And he's really a guy who can kind of play tight end. Like if you look at that dude, he's a really big wide receiver. So to me, out of those 3 guys, he's a guy that I'm really watching, and I think that should make the roster. But Xavier Malone's been making plays, and he also plays special teams. And then Josh Ali, to me, every time I look up, he's making a play. So I feel like those 3 guys are like neck and neck. So those guys are the guys that I'm kind of focusing on because they've really been balling out. And to me, I can't really tell out of those 3 guys, all of them drop passes, all of them have made a big play or splash play here or there. So those are the 3 guys that I think it's going to come down to in that wide receiver position, and I'll leave it at that. So those are the 3 guys that I'm kind of paying attention to, which 3 of those guys or one of those guys out of the 3 is going to make the roster, because all 3 of them not going to make it, I don't think.
Okay. Let me get a couple of these comments before we get the mic. D. Coleman said, prayers to your AC, too hot for that shit.
Yes, yeah. Look, I'm from the gutter. I'm used to bullshit, the bull crap going on. All right, so this ain't the time I've been hot. I'm from the hood where the lights wasn't on and all that type of stuff. The light got cut off. I know how to survive, so I'm good. It's good old rag and some water. It'll suffice. Okay.
Hey, look, just like this comment right here, there's some bullshit here. Who was asleep yesterday?
No.
Nobody was asleep.
Nobody was asleep.
They had an emergency.
We just had to have an emergency meeting. That's all. All right.
Right. Jamal Grant said, which ATL rapper should bring the players out like boxers too? Pastor Troy.
We in the city with it.
We in the city with it. Yes, sir. Shout out to P. Troy. Let's see, get a couple more questions in. We get a couple more comments in, then we're gonna then of course Jamal gonna cover this. He said, this is the most clear I've ever seen Mad Mike on screen.
They taking shots at Mike.
Mike
out here catching trades.
Well, you can see
I'm about to block your ass, Jamal. See, this is why Mad Mike can never be Michael Anthony Linson. Okay, I can never be Michael Anthony because stuff like this. I just want to be. I want to be nice. I want to have a good show. But motherfucker like Jamal, okay.
Hey,
that hurt my feelings. You really hurt my feelings with that. That really hurt my feelings.
Well, since your feelings got hurt, that means you up next, man. So, Mike, how do you feel about how this game is gonna go, and who are some guys on the brink with you?
I will start with this. It's going to be a lot of popular names in that tight end group that I think might get cut.
There you go, Mike. Somebody else said so.
I mean, because I got the damn light on. I actually turned the damn light on. I love knowing don't give a fuck. All right. And see, look, you see that? I just turned the damn light on. Good God Almighty, y'all.
You see what D. Colby put in the chat, right?
Nope.
Oh, I'm gonna have to put it on screen. Here you go. So Delilah gave Mike that good HD.
Delilah has been a wonderful asset. I mean, goddamn. I didn't mean it like that. Look. All right, Delilah has done she's been a wonderful help for me. I can tell you that much. She's definitely gotten on me for having
bad camera.
Bad camera. See, Delilah gets on me every single time, but every time, bro. So yeah, I'm doing better. I'm doing better with the equipment. I got a ways to go, but as far as the players that to watch out for, the tight end group, I think it's going to be interesting because you got guys like Parker Hesse. I think Tucker Fish is still with the team. What's his name? 42 or 43, something like that. But he's on the roster too. Obviously, you have Fitzpatrick doing his thing. So it's going to be interesting with that tight end group. I know for a fact, like the way Fitzpatrick is playing, like I don't see him going anywhere. He's young. He can get better, and I think it'd be a grave mistake if they release him. So Fish, Parker, Hesse, those guys might be on the chopping block. But Janu, Smith, KP. So I think that's going to be interesting to see what they do with the tight end group. But outside the tight end group, I think it's that tackle position. Depending on what happens to Tyler Verbal, it'll tell you what they think of Jalen Mayfield. Obviously, they have Jalen Mayfield playing the left tackle. They have Jalen Mayfield playing the left tackle and right tackle, but it's like if they're not happy with that right tackle position or left tackle position, you could quite possibly see a veteran guy or a possible trade. So in the next couple of days, I I think that's something that you should keep an eye on. What happens with that tight end group and that tackle position, because the tackle position, like I said, we lose. Knock on wood, Matthew, we screwed, bro, at that left tackle. We screwed right there. So it's gonna be interesting to see, keep an eye on that tackle position for the Falcons and what happens, who gets cut. Then they can come in and kind of be, that backup tackle on, left and right.
Well,
I know I just took everybody I'll go about that left tackle and that tight end position.
yeah, you damn sure did. And I'm sitting here looking at these comments. You are still talking about this camera, bro. Like, goddamn.
Man, y'all really hurt. Y'all hurting my mad feelings. I thought y'all liked me, man. God dang on you.
And Vlad here says, yes, that swing tackle could be a position we trade for. I mean, I think like with them setting up Jalen Mayfield the way they doing, I think they might just keep him as that utility swing tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I say he definitely earned it. If he has a good showing out on this game, I think he definitely earned it. Oh yeah, I said use K and Devon said rest in peace, Terry Funk. Man,
the hardcore legend.
Oh man, you know what's crazy? I watched a Japanese death match. Terry Funk and Rick Catfish Jack 2 days ago.
They do some wild stuff over there.
I like, bruh. Hey man, that's the hardcore lad. That's one of the hardcore legends right there, man. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later in the show. Let's see.
No. See, Parker Hesse hasn't earned it. The thing with Parker Hesse, he has the Falcons don't need veterans because you already got a veteran in Janu Smith. So the veteran's not what they need with that third position. That third position is always and usually reserved for that the guy that you call not a young, but kind of a guy a developmental guy that you want in that position that has potential to kind of be the second or potential first. So when you got a guy like Parker Hesse who's been in the league and he's reliable, but he's showing you that he doesn't necessarily have consistent hands, a very valuable blocker in his position. But Parker Hesse may not make the roster, but I could see him probably being in as the practice squad. But like, I think you can't afford to lose a guy like Fitzpatrick because he's so young. This is his second year, but it's really his first year playing. And the size, speed, athleticism that he showcased in the preseason game, because you got to go back and look at that game, the last preseason game. He was one of the guys that had clutch catches doing that in the last drive to come and tie the game. So he has potential, and he has the athleticism, and we know he has the body size and the skills to do it. But like, I don't think you. And everybody talking about moving the fullback. Who the hell gonna have two fullbacks on the damn team? They barely want one. Like, y'all be talking. This ain't man. This ain't man when you can have 2, 3 fullbacks. Like Mike all starting damn. Come on, y'all gotta stop thinking.
Say we're gonna get Justin Griffith and George Payne in the same.
Like, that's not they don't do that in the NFL. That's wishful thinking to have 2 fullbacks. Keith Smith is enough, bro. Well, what team do you know in the NFL that got 2 fullbacks? Hell, we barely know Keith Smith. Let's be real.
Y'all gonna stop disrespecting my boy Keith Smith like that. I'm just saying that right now. I hope I say that and he's still on the team. I'm just gonna say that. But let's see. We got the interesting one right here. Tabro said Richie Grant is not a starter to me. He was making the same mistakes Hawkins was last year.
Jim, please take this because I'm tired.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you just go watch the tape on Richie Grant last year, he made some key stops. So I think the difference between Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins mainly is range, to be real with you. Like Jalen Hawkins, he's a good player, but I don't know how many times in the post game shows last year, Mike was like, he's just like a step too slow. Like every time he's just like a step too slow for whatever reason. When it came down to Jalen Hawkins, he would make plays here and there, but I think Richie Grant made a little bit more plays than him last year. And another thing is Richie Grant can come down and feel. He'll come down and make tackles in the run game. He's really physical and he's a great tackler. But that's no knock against Hawkins, because I think Hawkins is going to make the roster too. He's just going to be a backup, and he's going to be a guy that we're going to play kind of as like a linebacker role. Like I really think these safeties, and y'all mentioned this in one of the shows, and I mentioned this, I think like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I did a video talking about these, if you can play 3 safeties on the field at one time, which I think we're going to see, because we got guys that are physical and not afraid to come down and field. I was going to take a shot there, but I'm not going to do it. Some of the linebackers that we had, they want to come down, and yeah, they're not here anymore, so we don't got to talk about it. But yeah, we got guys that'll come and put their body on the line. So because we got those physical safeties that'll come down and play in the run game, I'm gonna say it again because we mentioned this previously. Positionless football, not just on the offensive side, but the defensive side of the ball as well. So stop looking at these guys as safeties, corners. These guys are going to be all over the place. And if you guys been watching these preseason games, I love this scheme because Ryan Nielsen, he uses all these guys in different ways. The linebackers sometimes line up on the edge. Caden Ellis, for example, we've been seeing corners coming off the edge. So it's going to be guys being moved around like chess pieces on this team. So Jalen Hawkins, they're going to find a role for him because he's a guy that flies around. He flies around. He makes plays. But I wouldn't say that he's better than Richie Grant. I think they're 2 different style players. But I think Richie Grant has more range, so that's why he'll be the starter. But then again, we heard our head coaches say, when we keep mentioning starters, when we're talking about Drake London and Mac Hollins, with who's wide receiver 1, he's like, I don't really care about that. Everybody's going to have a role on this team. So at this point, I think it doesn't really matter who's better as far as Richie Grant and as far as Jalen Hawkins. Both of those guys are going to have a role. At the end of the day, Jesse Bates is the lead on that back end. So at some point, you're going to see Hawkins rotate in. At some point, you're going to see Helms rotate in. So at the end of the day, like I said, positionless football, offense and defense. So stop looking at these guys as that's a safety, that's a linebacker. That's the reason why I'm not so concerned about the linebacking depth. I've been getting a lot of questions on my channel is like, we don't have enough experience at linebacker, because we got players that can play in those roles that may not be listed as a linebacker, but they can come down and cover a tight end. They can come down and field and play in the run game and be like a box safety. So you don't have to have a guy that's literally labeled a linebacker to play that position. So y'all keep that in mind. Every time y'all keep looking at this linebacking core and saying we don't have enough depth, you got guys that are listed as safeties like a DeMarco Helms that can come down and play the run.
Okay, can I keep it simple, stupid on what you just said?
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid.
Okay, so for those in the back that may not know what Drew just said is, you got players that the objective of these players is, motherfucker, get your ass out there and make a play. This is the type of defense we're gonna have. Get your ass out there and make a play.
I don't care what we list you on the depth chart. Go out there and make a play. No matter what we listed as, go do a job.
And Dave here said, who was Coach Smith yelling at on the sideline? Was he yelling at Nelson, the officiating, or his team? He was losing his mind, and I'm here for it. God damn it, he was yelling at the fans watching the game too. So yeah, he was yelling at every damn body. So yeah, he's a perfectionist, man. That's essentially what it's coming down to. Hey man, we all here for it. I'd rather have him yelling. I'd rather have him doing that than Dan Quinn looking lost with his arms folded, like pizza parties. Nah, I don't want that no more. But yeah, kind of going off what you were saying though with Grant. Like I said, Hawkins is more of a strong safety anyway. Grant is more of a free. Like you said, they two different styles. But it's kind of interesting that you really segued into that because I think that for me, I think that's the guy that's going to be kind of on the brink for this game is a Jalen Hawkins. Because, like you said, and it's not because of Jesse Bates, it's not because of Richie Grant, but it's because DeMarco Hellum out here is really showing his ass right now in this preseason. Like you're really seeing, especially most of his damage is done at closer at the line of scrimmage. Jalen Hawkins, and I am a fan of Jalen Hawkins. But I think just with the addition of a Jesse Bates, it like you said, it makes his position a little bit cloudy. But as far as the game goes, I don't like. I expect to see the starters. I think they might do like a quarter with the starters instead of a drive, because even if they, like I said, even if you don't see them throughout the whole game, they still need as much time together as possible before the season, especially the first team. I mean, we got one drive last week. I think they're gonna get at least a quarter out of this one, because if he don't, the city of Atlanta they gonna pick it and ride, talking about why the hell Desmond Ridder ain't out there for a full quarter. I don't think D-Leg little heart can take that right now. Let's see. Shout out to Zay in the bag. He said the biggest fan from Baltimore in the building. What it do? He close to your neck of the woods, Jew. Oh, Juden froze up too. Damn, everybody and their mama done froze up on me. So D Coleman here said, would you oppose to? Oh, we good? D Coleman said, would you oppose to trading Jalen Hawkins? I think Abernathy and Helms are adequate depth at safety. Nah, I can't do it. I can't. I say he's on the brink, but like you said, if he doesn't really show enough, it could it could be a possibility. But if we're talking about if he makes if he's close to making the 53, I'm not trading him because, like you said, that you need depth. Go ahead.
Let me say this about too. Well, kind of what you were talking about as far as the players and the safety. The thing is too. Is that we're focused on position. This is why dude was stating about positionless football. Mm-hmm. Like you look at Michael Vick. Was Michael Vick really a quarterback? He was a quarterback and a running back in the same position. Same thing with John Elway. Same thing with Steve Young. A lot of these players were dual threats. So we're so infatuated with just like just the position in itself. And you don't realize football has always been about having multiple skill sets. It is now. It's like we got organizations like ESPN that say, all right, you have to be able to do this to be a quarterback. But football has always been about having multiple skill sets. But when you look at Richie Grant has multiple skill sets. All right. He can come in the box and he can make solid tackles. He has range where he can go side to side and play both positions. Not only this free safety, but he has another gift that he can be a corner and a slot corner. He can play that slot corner well also. He can cover tight ends. He has pretty good hands for a safety. Jalen Hawkins in itself, does he have athleticism? Of course. Does he really have the range to be able to play free safety? That's why a strong safety for him is that position. That's why they put him at strong safety. He can cover tight ends. He can make those tackles. But what Richie Grant can do, you can put him anywhere in the middle of that field and he can make plays. It's not a lot of safeties in the league that have that range. And I saw somebody said some goofy shit. It's like we didn't need Jesse Bates. Like what, huh? Who,
Bruce.
who?
Bruce.
Like Jesse Bates, one of the best safeties in the game. Y'all gotta pay attention to like a lot of these players. Like really pay attention to how they're used. We get so infatuated with numbers. He didn't have X amount of interceptions. He didn't have X amount of. Jesse Bates is one of the most well-rounded safeties in the game. He has multiple facets of his game. If you look at this preseason game, it was a couple of plays where he was in the box, in the free safety on the right side of the defense, and he was on the left side of the defense making tackles. There's not a lot of safeties in the league that can not only cover and have the range that Jesse Bates has, but Jesse Bates has that ability where he can come in the box and make tackles. So these are the aspects of position. And when we talk about position in football, you can have a 3-4, hell, you can have 4 safety looks with the Atlanta Falcons. Jesse Bates, Richie Grant, as a strong and free safety, and both of those guys are interchangeable. And then you can put those. You can put not only Helms, but you can put Jalen Hawkins in them big nickel packages, and they can be those extra linebackers that you have. So this we talking about. Like we be thinking about things just as position, but when you look at Arthur Smith and those guys, they're thinking schematically the skill sets that they have, that you'll be able to put them in position, because sometimes teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, they might have like, let's just say like for the Falcons, for example. Falcons might have 4 tight ends on the roster. They might have 4 tight end look, and they'll spread all of them out. And you put a corner on them tight ends, obviously those tight ends going to physically outmatch those guys. So you need safety that's going to be able to physically, stand up to that demand of covering a big guy, because all the big guy gonna do is use his body and just push him off, get off. So you need safeties with that wide range of skills to be able to cover different types of formations. So I always look at things, just position.
And shout out to Dre Harrison with the $5 super chat. Said that my linebacker position will be interchangeable between Ellis and Troy. This will change the look of the defense to opposing offenses. Hey, way better Mike linebacker than what Michael Walker goofy ass was. But by like you said, by having, but I'm not surprised Caden Ellis has the green light, since he does have the most experience with Ryan Nelson. I mean, that's kind of something that we kind of didn't play into part. Like you said, he may not have the green helmet for the green dot for the whole season. They may be passing the torch to Troy Anderson maybe later in the season. Terry Lloyd here said, "Are we keeping 3 quarterbacks?" I think they said the third quarterback spot doesn't count against the roster, so I think every team can have 3 quarterbacks, but it's kind of like the safety net spot.
It's an emergency spot in case, because they don't want wide receivers playing quarterback in the game. So they kind of gave that third quarterback position as an emergency spot.
Exactly. About whatever here said, grow together like the Steelers did with Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark. That's a fact. But since we talked about the players and stuff like that. Hey man, we got 95 people in here. Let's go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. You want to get at least 50 likes. So let's go ahead and play a little intermission music so we can let y'all go ahead and do your thing for me right quick if you don't mind.
They don't want none. You don't want none.
Hey man, and make sure y'all also subscribe to Juke Talk Sports if you hadn't subscribed already. He's working on way up to the 3K side of the game, man. So help my boy out. And as well as hit the Heavy Hitters Live channel. Like I said before, this is the final week. You will see the Heavy Hitters on the other channel. Next week, it is the Heavy Hitters Live. So we're gonna have a community tab, so you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the channel if you don't mind. Hey. All right, what the hell is you doing?
I'm dancing.
Boy, this is not a Ray J video, boy. What the yo? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right. Let's see.
Smash that like button, y'all. Smash it.
Oh, back. Let's go ahead and. All right. So, let's speak upon the game itself. Now, Jew, I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick this off. What do you think about the direction that the Pittsburgh Steelers is going on right now? Because this is very interesting. Because I seen something where Ryan Clark came out and said that George Pickens was a more talented wide receiver than Justin Jefferson. So, what do you think of the direction the Pittsburgh Steelers are going through?
Should I address the comment that Ryan Clark made?
Hey,
first,
please.
What do you think, man?
Talk about the Steelers. I'll say this. I can y'all still hear me? My joint tweaking.
See, they don't want us to be great. Hey, I think you're good now.
Okay. Well, I'll say in regards to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I like the direction that they're heading in. Mike Tomlin, I think 17 winning seasons. No, has never had a losing season, which is crazy. I think that's the craziest stat I've seen in the NFL with Mike Tomlin, not ever having a losing season in his career. That's crazy. But I'm actually a fan of Kenny Pickett, and I'm a fan of George Pickens. I think that they are trending in the right direction. We know what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do as far as defense. 3-4. Run the ball. They really haven't changed, and when it comes to that, like their style of football, they have a blueprint of how they want to play football. But the whole George Pickens being better than wait and see. Like I feel after a team has or a player has one good season, we kind of want to crown them and kind of jump the gun a little bit, similar to what we're seeing with Jalen Hurts. No disrespect. I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but for everybody that's saying like he's a top 3 quarterback, I've been hearing crazy stuff. He's a top 5 quarterback. Like, to me, he hasn't proven it over an extended period of time for us to be putting him on that level. So I think George Pickens, I think he should have said that George Pickens has the talent and he could be one day be as good as Jefferson. But I think that Jefferson has proven it over the seasons he's been in the league that he's one of the top dogs. So I really feel like it's no comparison when you look at that. I think that they're similar players. They're great route runners. They're both lanky, tall, both got great hands. But I really feel like George Pickens got to do it. He was a rookie last year. Like, it's just way too early to say. I would say he reminds me of a Jefferson. I wouldn't say he's better. I wouldn't put him in his class, because then you start disrespecting guys that have done it over an extended period of time. So the same thing with Jalen Hurts. I feel like he's trending in the right direction. So when it comes to that, I think Pickens is great. He was one of those guys I wanted the Falcons to draft. If we didn't go Drake London, I wanted us to go George Pickens, because I thought he was one of those guys that is really dangerous, great route runner, great hands. But I think you got to give him time, to prove it. He has to prove it over time. Like, Jefferson is an all-pro. Don't compare him to an all-pro, a guy that almost had 2,000 yards receiving. Like, you can argue Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. He's in that top 3 category, top 5 category. Pickens is not even in my top 10 yet. He has time. Like, he might not be in the top 15. If you start going down receivers, Jamar Chase, Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, like, you got so many guys. To be honest, can we say Pickens is better than Drake London? I can't say he's better than Drake London. Both of those guys were rookies. So I feel like he has talent. That's it. He has talent. And I think that he has, in time, he could develop into like a Jefferson. But I think that statement that he made, yeah, he was talking a little bit crazy. Yeah, that was that black and yellow talking. We know he played for Pittsburgh, so he got a little bit excited. But to say he's better than Jefferson on that level, as we always say, there's levels to this. So no disrespect to George Pickens. I think he has a bright future, but he still has to prove it. He hasn't proven it. He hasn't even had 1,000-yard season yet. So let's let him do that first. Let him be a Pro Bowler first before we start comparing him to all pros.
And by whatever here said, I thought Pickett would be a flat-out bum, but he's actually decent. I watched all their games because I live here, and that's my daughter's team, and she liked the Bucks. I told her we can't be friends.
Yeah, I don't like your daughter either. But we got something in coming.
Hell no. So, Mike, what you do? So, on that question I just asked you, what's your take on that, man? How do you feel? How do you feel about that statement, and how do you feel about the direction of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I like George Pickens. I've seen him at the University of Georgia. Obviously,
but see, you ain't got to remind me of that.
Yeah, we know that incident. Go ahead and describe it.
Yeah, that was. I think that was Trey Swellens, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you got your ass snatched by your helmet. George Pickens got suspended for that after that game, but yeah, you got your helmet snatched real quick. Go ahead, Mike.
But I think the thing is too, kind of said it. I think we get ahead of ourselves because guys have 1 year. Like, for me, I think you're an idiot, to be honest. If you're just trying to compare a guy who's done it for 2, 3, 4 years in a row, and a guy who hasn't even been the best receiver in his class. In my opinion, I think Drake London was the best receiver in this class. Does Pickens look like he's on the right road to being one of the best wide receivers? I would say, but don't be foolish. It's disrespectful for anybody to come out and say a guy who's been a rookie is more talented than Justin Jefferson. It's just stupid. All right, and that's an obvious bias because obviously he played for the Steelers. So, like I said, his thing is as an analyst and a former team. I get what he's saying, but like that's disrespectful to Justin Jefferson because he's been doing it for 2-3 years. He's been putting up numbers ever since he got in the league. So, like I said, it's like it's no comparison whatsoever. It's foolish, and we need to get away from making those types of declarations when guys are only been in football for a year. Like, You've been in the league 1 year and you already talking about he's the greatest of all time. Julio Jones right now has the greatest wide receiver per game average in the history of the game at 87.9. Okay, that's more than Terrell Owens and more than Jerry Rice. All right, so it's not that easy being consistent and a great wide receiver. All right, 87.9. That's the greatest average per game average for a receiver. That's the best of all time. Not even who, like I said, not even Megatron has done that. All right, not even Megatron has those numbers. Julio has that. So that ought to tell you how hard and difficult it is to keep up. I think that's the thing. You got to show consistent levels of success. Not just 1 year, 2 year, you had 1,800 yards and then you fall off. That's why it's disrespectful to even compare just the difference in the Pickens right now. A fair comparison would be, is Pickens better than Drake London? That's an argument. But to compare him to Jefferson, that's just, like I said, that's idiotic in my opinion.
Right. Because Pickens and London literally had the same, damn near the same identical numbers last year. But what, as far as like the Steelers go, and this is why I always say, like, when you look at the Steelers organization, and I think it may have been both of y'all said, they have a particular way. I think it was you, Ju, that said that they have a particular culture or style that all their teams are built on. And it never changed. It hasn't changed since the 70s. And this is kind of like what a blueprint for what the Falcons are trying to do right now as a team. Like you said, defense, running the football, managing the clock, having character guys, have all this stuff rolled up in one. Direction that they're going in, like you said, Kenny Pickett, I'm still not really sold on him like that. But it ain't because I think he sucks. It's just that, like you said, you still just have to see a little bit more. Like I said, you get the full experience with quarterbacks after, like, really year 3. Like I said, just on the leeway side is year 3. But like you said, he could definitely take that jump this year. Like you said, George Pickens is one hell of a damn receiver. Deontay Johnson is another one. Pat Fairmount, Najee Harris. Like you said, the offensive line, like you said, it's still not there yet, but they still have to rebuild that because, boy, like they're a long way from the Pouncey twins. So they're trying.
Right.
Defensive wise, TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., Patrick Peterson. Like, you got a lot of experience over there as well. So they're heading in the right direction as far as where they're at now. But as a Falcon fan, when we look at a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is what we want to be. Let's see. Any one of y'all got something else to add on that? D. Coleman said, if I wasn't a Falcon fan, I'd be a Steelers fan. Great culture, sensible fan base, and a standard of winning. I rocks with Pittsburgh. Yeah. Like, I just looked up the Mike Tomlin record. His 3 worst seasons were crazy, 8-8. His 3 worst seasons were all 8-8 seasons.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. Like, but see his stats. He got the craziest stat line in the NFL history, and we continuously leave his name out when we say the best coaches in the NFL. We say Bill Belichick. We say Andy Reid. We need to start mentioning Mike Tomlin's name. Yeah, he don't have as many Super Bowls, but just to be able to sustain that winning, like never to have a losing season, never to be below 500, that's crazy. And like 17, however long he been coaching, that's crazy.
Since 2007, he was 35 when he started.
So that's a good 10.
Just know his let me see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. He be going on year 17.
That is insane. That is insane.
But you always got to think about
Yeah.
it too. He's the third head coach
Almost
in the
20 years.
franchise history. He's the third head coach in their franchise history. Think about the longevity that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
So you telling me in 60 years they had 3 head coaches? That is fucking insane. But that's how you build the culture. That's how you build the culture.
You got to build a culture, okay? Build the culture, and the culture takes time. So you can't go out and just like, all right, fire guys because they had a losing season. You're never gonna have any sort of sustained success doing it like that. You got to give a guy a chance to prove themselves. Got to give them time to continuously build what they're trying to build.
And just to add on what you're saying, Mike, and this is what like pisses me off every time we fire somebody. It's like when you continuously fire coaches, what the fans, the casual fan doesn't pay attention to, and why the Steelers has had that sustained success. You heard Case say they only had like 3 coaches in their existence. Like if you think about it, when a new regime comes in, what usually happens to the players that was from the last regime? We're seeing it with this Falcons team.
You can get the out.
Exactly. So you can never really set a foundation if you're always changing head coaches. You're always changing front office GMs. You've always, changing coordinators. Like if you look at the Steelers, they're one of the teams where from top to bottom, their defensive coordinator they had for a very long time prior to him leaving. Their head coaches, they keep their head coaches around, and they've been running a 3-4 since before I was born. They was running a 3-4. So you know what type of players you need to bring in. But I feel like every time you change a head coach, you change philosophies, you're wasting draft picks. That's what we keep talking about. Like we're seeing it now. The Falcons really pretty much we've kind of, as K-Style said, we were going through the cleanse. We literally got rid of pretty much all of the players that Dan Quinn that they brought in for the most part. So that's the biggest issue is like you keep hitting the reset button. When you fire a head coach, you get rid of a coordinator with so much movement. It's hard to build that winning culture when you keep changing and you're not able to establish. It takes time to establish culture. It takes time to establish and bring in the players you want. So if you are going to fire a coach and bring in a new coach, it's best to bring in someone that has a similar philosophy. Because I really feel like for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that 3-4 and the things they do, they hire coaches that fit what their mode. We run the ball, we play good defense, we good in the trenches. That's what we do. So when they look for a head coach, they look for a head coach that's going to believe in that philosophy. They don't go outside of those parameters. And I really feel like that's the biggest issue. And been our biggest issue is every time we change a head coach, we got to go through that phase of, all right, let this coach bring in his players. Let that coach establish his culture. And when you do that, that takes time. That takes time. And that's the reason why we keep telling you guys, give Arthur Smith time, because the first 2 years, he really didn't have his players. This is the first year that we can actually look at it like, okay, they had money. They were able to go out and get guys to fit their scheme. So this is really like the first time that he's had a real team. As much as that sounds disrespectful to the first 2 years that he coached here, but we know he had guys on 1-year deals, and they pretty much had just the draft picks, young guys. We really didn't have the veteran guys. Now you see the guys that they brought in, the Calais Campbells, the Jesse Bates. These are the guys that they actually wanted here to run their scheme. So this is the year that we need to be kind of focusing in on, like, okay, let's see what these guys got. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but to me, this is the most I've seen Arthur Smith smile with the media in the last 2 years.
Yes, believe me, I've noticed.
He's been smiling the whole lot. So something up. Everybody should just know something's up, because he won't smile. And those first 2 years was a hard, long 2 years with those 1-year deals, no money. He's been doing a lot of smiling this offseason.
A lot of kidding with the media. A lot of jokes with the media.
Boy, that boy went from Kurt Cobain to Freddie Mercury in a heartbeat.
Yeah. That man said Kurt Cobain. I can't believe you just said that.
that boy was Kurt Cobain for 2 years, boy.
No smiles.
No smiles, depressed. Talk about load up on guns, bring a friend. He had that energy going on the first 2 years. But the bad part about it was as much
them Cobainites gonna get you, but
hey, I'm a Nirvana fan, so I don't care. I'm a Nirvana fan. So
everybody loves Nirvana, man. Everybody loves Nirvana.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, the first 2 years, like, and it's crazy as hell when we think of the first 2 years. His team was actually worse than the year before he came that had better players.
And we actually was competing, K. That's what's crazy. You competing with 1 year deal guys, competing with no money. So that's why I keep telling people, what do you think he's going to do when he gets players that, players on that caliber? It's like going from coaching, taking Nick Saban. He's coaching Alabama. You take another coach that's coaching on like the CAA level and give him the Alabama players. What you think gonna happen? I love Nick Saban. I think he's a good coach, but it's a lot of talent. He got a lot of talent, man. Like, it don't take a great coach. I could probably coach that. No disrespect. It's a lot of coaches that can coach that Alabama team. Let's just be real.
All the athletes they.
Yeah, I mean, you got all 5-star recruits. Like, let's be real. Like, no disrespect, but it's just like, let's be real. You see coaches that have all the talent, and then you see coaches that you're like, man, if he had just a little bit of talent, what could he do with that little bit of talent? So, like, Arthur Smith showed us who he was those first 2 years. To go 7-10 with those rosters that he had, it's a reason they were projecting us to win 2 games last year. The high was to win maybe 4.
Yeah.
It was the reason why the media was doing it. Not just because they dislike Atlanta, but they were looking at our roster just on paper. They was like, ain't no way this team's going to compete. Ain't no way. So just for him to be able to have us both seasons in December, you still fighting for a playoff spot, like, that says a lot. I don't care what division you in. People want to blame the division. I don't care what division you in. To be able to compete the way that we were able to compete the last 2 years was crazy.
And Mucho here said, don't seem like they had that many QBs neither. And kind of the one thing that y'all was like we were talking about as far as culture and talking about giving coaches a chance. The one thing a lot of folks kind of take for granted as well is the system, or as what Terry Fontenot calls the program, which means you got a bunch of coaches that are predicated under one system to where, okay, if let's just say Ryan Nielsen ends up getting the head coaching job, you've already groomed the successor just in case. So now you don't lose a beat. This is what a lot of the successful teams do. If they lose head coaches, they got a coach under him that's going to bring the same verbiage, the same message, the same energy, and you're not losing that. Now, you may not have as much of the experience that you had the year before, but the one thing about a lot of these players, if the verbiage from coaches to coaches are similar, then the players can assimilate to that system easier. But if the verbiage is completely different, now you have a learning curve that you have to go through.
And you set yourself back. When you do that every time, you set yourself back.
And the problem was with, like you said, when you got younger players and they're not assimilating to a particular system and they changing systems, it's overwhelming to certain players. And then that's when you start seeing folks like Marlon Davidson ain't producing well. You start seeing guys like Jalen Collins not producing well. We see Tack not doing well.
I knew you were gonna bring that name up.
But am I lying though?
Nope.
Nah,
I mean, the talent wasn't there neither. But like you said, the thing about it is that was a coaching and scheme can overcome a lack of talent any day.
Yeah, almost every year he was there, he changed defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Like that tells you everything.
Here you go. We went 7-10 with Mike Davis averaging 3 inches per carry.
Man, I can fart farther than that shit. Like he was damn do it. Like that dude wasn't getting nowhere. he was literally running, and he was literally butt fumbling the whole damn year.
Mm-hmm.
Running to the offensive lineman and getting tackled. That was my thing.
You got that. You said he was playing sumo.
He was
he was playing sumo.
Sumo. He running to.
Said Mike Tomlin is the 8-8 king or the 9-7 king. Let's see. Out of 16 years, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, actually, I wouldn't call him the 7-8 king. That's the 8-8, 7-9 king, because out of 16 years. He's had, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So out of the 16 years, 7 of those seasons were either 8-8 or 9-7. Every other year, he's won at least 11 games, except for 2015.
Yeah, 9 seasons, he won 10 or more games, which is crazy. And he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And lost the Super Bowl against the Packers. So he's been to 2 Super Bowl appearances. I mean, that's you can't ask for nothing better.
Right. And they know how to draft well too. That's another thing we have to give credit on. And that's also part of the culture process. You gotta be able to draft well. You gotta be able to develop talent. You gotta be able to keep stability.
Bringing in quality coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And when you spend money, you got to know what players fit your scheme. Minka Fitzpatrick, like the guys that they actually go out and actually pay fit their scheme. So it's like, I mean, they just hitting it all. They doing the right things all the way around.
Let me give you one example. Who in the hell thought it was a good idea to bring Paul Soliai in to run a nickel defense?
No, I don't really want to answer that. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Let me give you another one. Who in the hell thought it was a good idea to bring in James Carpenter and Jamon Brown, and they specialized in nothing?
Boy.
What did Jamon Brown really do anyway, besides be fat?
But
that's his own quarterback.
Boy. But that's what we're talking about, though. Like you said, once you have an established identity, like you have the blueprint for the type of players that fit in the system. So that's why I say it's always like in the draft. If you notice, and this is what a lot of how these successful teams do. Like, and we talk about consistent success. We're not talking about one and done, and they don't see the playoffs until like 2027 and shit. No, these are guys that's in it year after year after year after year. Is they develop these players to where they don't have to overpay for anything, or they go to the draft. They don't have to reach for no players. They could actually trade back and get the players they want.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to reach for players. That's the thing. You don't want to have to reach for players. That's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. A lot of players, a lot of teams. I mean, Falcons, for example, we reached for a lot of guys.
A lot of guys.
We
Oh,
didn't develop because we didn't develop well. That's what happened when you don't develop your own players. You end up overextending, overreaching players that typically wouldn't be in that spot. And that's
mm,
Calvin Ridley, to be honest. That's Calvin Ridley. We didn't really need him. Had we ran the ball a lot better, Calvin Ridley would have never been that pick. We would have went defensively. We would have been good at developing our offensive line. Calvin Ridley wouldn't have been the pick right there.
they'd have had a better chance if they would have went Taven Brown with that damn pick than Calvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being honest, and I like Calvin Ridley. I
Mm-hmm.
really, but
That was an unnecessary pick.
that pick right there, and I will continue to say this until the day I die. That Calvin Ridley pick was the draft pick that essentially destroyed the Falcons' chances of going back to the playoffs.
Facts. You hit the nail on the head, Kay. I was thinking the same thing. We never went back to the playoffs when we had Calvin Ridley. And it ain't no shot at him. It was just we didn't need him. We didn't need him.
Mm-hmm. Madtown Dirty with the $2 super chat said, "I like the way you guys spitting facts." Hey man, the heavy hitters, stats, facts, and truth. Already right now. Let's see. Yep, Eric. Yep. Ain't that what Terry said? Don't reach. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We're finding some late round gems under this regime. Algier is good. Helms and Clark Phillips looks very promising. Yes, sir. And then if it's then like you said, then you're creating potential trade value if you need to, if you continue to find players. Whew, boy. I'm about to say, man, let's go ahead and wind it down for tonight. People, like I said, this is the format of the Heavy Hitters Live. So, like I said, you stay tuned in the community tabs, not only on this channel, Jude Talk Sports and Mad Mike Sports. This Heavy Hitters Live is going to be exclusively on the Heavy Hitters Live channel. So if you haven't subscribed over there, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button to that channel. Like I said, I will put it in the community tab. My brothers, y'all got any final things y'all want to say?
I just want to say before when y'all go over to hit the subscribe button, the Heavy Hitters Live channel, we're not going to only be doing Atlanta Falcons content. So if you guys want to hear us talk about the latest NFL news, we're going to be talking about all NFL. So y'all definitely go out there, go over there and check that channel out. Because if you want to hear about not just the Atlanta Falcons, but hear us talk about all NFL content, that's the channel that you want to definitely go hit that like and subscribe button on.
And guess what? Y'all just got a preview of it tonight. You're welcome. What you got, Mike?
I want to give a shout out to my mama, my daddy, my sister, my cousin, my mama, my auntie, my my best friend with the crooked eye, my ex-girlfriend that got the ugly toes, all those people. Ghost Peppers, I want to give a shout out to Ghost Peppers for talking about Piggly Wiggly. I want to give a shout out to ATL Leo for always talking crap. I want to give a shout out to D Coleman for just always got something ignorant to say. I want to give a shout out to Vlad for not having a similar name to Vlad TV. I want to get a shout out to I got one more shout out. About whatever for whatever the fuck he be talking about. I want to give a shout out to one more, Gear Corey 5. I don't need Gear Corey 5 to learn how to spell his damn name because I'm tired of saying Gear Corey 5. Spell the shit right, all right? This is Corey Gear 5, all right? Gear Corey 5 just sound weird, all right? Just yeah, all right. So shout out to everybody in the damn chat. All right. I don't know what I just did, but it felt good.
Hey, you don't forget Joe. Don't forget Joseph. You know, that's one of the day ones too. Don't forget Joseph. Joseph, not Martinez Thornton. Okay. All right, people, man. Until next time, man. Hey, man, we ain't here to play.
Hey, man, it's all good, man.
Hey, but for real though, like I said, we always say this, and it's a cliche, but we definitely appreciate everybody that watches, tunes in, subscribes to all of our content. I'm giving up.
Y'all ain't got it. Y'all ain't got to change. Y'all ain't got to charge your name. I'm just tripping.
Yeah, he just joking. We have a little fun. But we always say that we do this and we're giving you this content. Like you said, what I always like to used to say when we first started was this is therapeutic for me. This is therapeutic for somebody. Like we always say, man, we are not for everybody. And I'm proud of that because it weeds out who wants to be in the conversation and who does not want to be in the conversation. And like you said, stats and facts and truth, that's what we bring over here. That's why you got the trio of minds, one of three. At the end of the day, man, we just being us. And if you don't like it, that's fine with you. But remember, we are not for everybody. So until next time, people, we ain't here to play.
Oh, no.
We here to stay.
Oh, yeah, nigga.
You ain't got to go home.
But you got to get the hell out of here. Oh, yeah.
Deuces.